Timoleon's lights, the ancient UFO that guided a Greek general. Today on Space, the Final Frontier Above and Beyond an Open-Minded Channel, we are going on a journey back in time to the year 343 BC. We are taking a look into the Torch of Timoleon of Corinth. What he thought was a divine message from the heavens may have been a misunderstood UFO guiding our history, or perhaps viewing our history. As always, this video is intended for entertainment only and not for any other purposes. We simply are making a comparison of old and modern UFOs to see how and if they stack up. In 343 BC, the Mediterranean lay quiet beneath the silver light of distant stars. The waves rolled against the hulls of ships bearing a Greek commander, Timoleon of Corinth, on a mission that would alter the fate of Sicily and, perhaps, human history. But on this journey, something else stirred in the heavens, something that would defy explanation for more than 2 millennia. Timoleon, an exiled hero burdened by guilt and divine purpose, had set sail with a small squadron of ships to bring freedom to the Sicilian Greeks. The seas between Corinth and Italy were treacherous. His men whispered prayers to Poseidon and Zeus, watching the sky for omens. Then, in the dark hours of night, a light appeared. Diodorus Siculus, writing centuries later, described it in words that still ignite wonder. All through the night he was preceded by a torch blazing in the sky up to the moment when the squadron made harbor in Italy. A torch blazing in the sky. A light that guided them unerringly across the vast sea, neither star nor comet, but something that moved with intent. To the sailors of the 4th century BC, this was a sign from the gods. But to us in the 21st century, in an age of UFO videos, declassified encounters, and stories of lights that follow aircraft across the night, Timoleon's blazing torch sounds hauntingly familiar. Could this have been one of humanity's earliest recorded UFO encounters? Timoleon's life had been marked by tragedy. Years before this voyage, he had killed his own brother, a tyrant of Corinth, in the name of freedom. Though the city revered him as a hero, the weight of fratricide drove him into exile. He lived quietly, haunted by fate, until Sicily called for deliverance from oppression. When Timoleon gathered his fleet, it was as if destiny itself had summoned him back into the light. And that light, it seems, quite literally appeared. Night after night, as his ships cut through the Ionian Sea, a luminous object moved above them, steady, intelligent, radiant. Witnesses described it as a great lampas, a word that in Greek refers not merely to a flame but to a torch, something held, controlled, and wielded. A divine escort, perhaps, or something else entirely. In ancient times, celestial omens carried meaning. Comets were harbingers of change. Meteors were seen as messages from Olympus. Yet even by the standards of myth, Timoleon's light behaved differently. A comet moves across the sky, fixed in its path and vanishing within days. A meteor flashes briefly, gone in an instant. But this light, according to Diodorus, guided Timoleon's ships throughout the night until they reached Italy. It did not fade. It did not burn out. It moved with them. Modern astronomers have scoured records and found no comet or celestial event in that region of the sky during 343 BC. The absence of any natural explanation leaves the account suspended between myth and mystery, a phenomenon that matches, almost point for point, what thousands would later describe in modern UFO reports. Lights that follow vehicles, respond to movement, and vanish upon arrival. When Timoleon saw the light, he was not afraid. To him, this was a message, a sign of divine protection. And yet the experience was more than visual. According to fragments of his account, he felt a presence, as if the light itself communicated to him. He claimed that it foretold fame and glory. It guided not just his ships, but his mind, filling him with conviction that the gods were with him. But what if it wasn't a god at all? Telepathic communication, messages delivered without sound, are a hallmark of many modern UFO contact stories. From the 1961 abduction of Betty and Barney Hill to the more recent accounts of military pilots reporting intelligent behavior from luminous craft, the pattern persists. The feeling of being guided, of a mind-to-mind transmission beyond words. Could it be that Timoleon, in his own ancient way, experienced the same? Historians have long debated the nature of this light. Some dismiss it as a poetic embellishment, a metaphor invented by Diodorus to glorify his hero. Others, including scholars of ancient astronomy, point out that Greek historians were meticulous observers of celestial events. If Diodorus recorded it, there is reason to believe it happened. And so, we are left with a vivid description of a luminous object that appeared suddenly in the sky, maintained a steady glow, traveled in the same direction as Timoleon's fleet, and vanished only once they reached their destination. These are not the characteristics of a meteor or a comet. They are the characteristics of a guided light, a craft, perhaps, moving under control. To understand this event in its full context, we must look to the worldview of ancient Greece. For the Greeks, the boundary between mortal and divine was porous. The gods intervened, the stars carried messages, and the heavens were alive with meaning. To see a torch blazing in the night sky was to see the hand of Apollo, the light-bringer, guiding a hero to his destiny. But suppose we remove the lens of mythology and replace it with the language of modern science. A bright light, moving with intelligence, descending or maneuvering, these are the same behaviors reported in countless UFO sightings across centuries. From the Foo Fighters of World War II to the tic-tac encounters of U.S. Navy pilots, humanity has continued to observe the same phenomenon. Luminous objects operating beyond our known technology, sometimes interacting with witnesses in ways that seem almost personal. Timoleon's divine torch may have been the same phenomenon, only witnessed in an age that lacked the vocabulary to describe it. In the ancient world, Sicily was a land of mystery. Volcanoes rumbled beneath the surface, and strange lights were often seen near the mountains and coastlines. Some accounts from the region speak of stars that descended to the earth, a phrase eerily reminiscent of the modern term UFO landing. Could Timoleon's light have originated from Mount Etna, a hotspot of activity both geological and perhaps extraterrestrial? Modern-day UFO researchers have noted an intriguing correlation between volcanic regions and unexplained aerial phenomena. The theory suggests that these crafts might draw power from the electromagnetic fields produced by volcanic activity, a hypothesis that might, in an astonishing way, connect the same forces Timoleon witnessed to those observed in modern times. As Timoleon's fleet approached Italy, the sailors were in awe. The light, unwavering, seemed to pulse with rhythm, brightening when they changed direction, dimming as they steadied course. It was not random, it was responsive. Timoleon, convinced that it was divine guidance, prayed aloud to the heavens. And then, as the fleet reached the Italian coast, the light ascended, swiftly, silently, and was gone. 4 nights later, Sicily would erupt in civil war, and Timoleon, guided by that unearthly light, would triumph against impossible odds. In the aftermath, he spoke of the torch with reverence, believing it had been a message from Olympus. Yet if one reads between the lines, it's clear. This was no ordinary vision. It was a sighting. Over 2,000 years later, we are still asking the same questions. What are these lights? Where do they come from? And why do they so often appear to those standing at the crossroads of destiny? Modern UFO cases echo Timoleon's experience in striking detail. In 1944, Allied pilots described glowing orbs that escorted their aircraft over Europe. Foo Fighters, they called them, balls of light that danced beside them, mimicking their movements. In 2004, Navy pilots reported the now famous tic-tac UFOs, objects that moved with intelligence, tracking ships and aircraft with precision before accelerating away at impossible speeds. And in countless civilian reports from around the world, witnesses describe being guided by lights, following them down highways over oceans or through the sky until they vanish without trace. From 343 BC to the present, the pattern remains unchanged. Skeptics argue that Timoleon's light was simply a natural phenomenon, ball lightning perhaps, or atmospheric plasma. But these explanations falter under scrutiny. Ball lightning lasts seconds, not hours. Plasma does not travel alongside ships, nor does it display controlled movement. If Timoleon's light had been a meteor or fireball, it would have streaked and burned out. Instead, it remained constant, deliberate, and purposeful. For ancient eyes, it was the will of the gods. For modern minds, it is the mystery of the unidentified. Could Timoleon have been chosen? In many UFO encounters, contactees describe being selected, drawn into experiences that shape their lives. Betty and Barney Hill, Travis Walton, Antonio Villas-Boas. Each of them reported not only a sighting, but a transformation, a sense that the encounter was meant for them, that it carried a personal message. Timoleon's story fits this mold. He saw the light at a time of inner conflict, exile, and renewal. It guided him toward his purpose. It gave him courage. Perhaps in whatever form they take, these encounters are not random. Perhaps they are meant to awaken something in us, a reminder that we are not alone and that our destiny, like Timoleon's, may be written in the stars. Today, when we look at the night sky, we see the same constellations Timoleon once gazed upon: Orion, Taurus, the Pleiades. But somewhere out there, beyond the reach of those familiar stars, might lie the same intelligence that lit his path across the Ionian Sea. A civilization older than myth, watching, guiding, revealing itself only when the world is ready to see. Perhaps when Timoleon prayed to the gods, someone or something answered. And if that's true, then the torch that once blazed above his ships may still burn in our skies today, waiting for us to notice. Because in the end, every ancient sighting, every strange light, every divine flame, may not just be a story from the past. It may be a record of contact between humanity and something greater, woven into the myths of our ancestors, disguised as signs from heaven, but pointing to the same truth. We have never been alone. Thank you for watching Space, the Final Frontier Above and Beyond. We hope you have enjoyed our comparison of old and new UFOs. Like and subscribe so you won't miss the next edition from Above and Beyond.